If you leave it, you can just go. I'm not going to shut it as fast as possible, but it's got to be in order to do. Try to let it out. Yeah, if you can. Sit. Try to. Appreciate that quick. So, I said, you not being first should be beneficial for you. Usually the ones who go first, the ones that stay. Usually. All right.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated.
You can have them call, like, anytime, whenever they get fixed, just have them call this room and then we'll just read them on to 11. I mean, if they want to wait for 11, that's fine, but if it gets fixed between now and then, you can call anytime.
Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Commissioner Hughes. This is the 8 a.m. initial appearance calendar for Saturday, January 25th. The court's orders for the taking of DNA samples and fingerprints issued on the first calendar of January will apply to the hearings on this calendar. As we get started in here this morning, I will call each of you into the courtroom one at a time. I'll ask one of you to stand behind this gray podium here in front of me in the courtroom. I'll ask the next person I intend to call into the courtroom to have a seat in, it's either a blue or green chair right inside this door facing all of you. So that's how we'll cycle through this calendar. The first time I call your name, I'll ask you to move from the chair you're in right now to that chair inside the door. Second time I call your name, I'll ask you to move from that chair into the courtroom. Once you're in the courtroom, I will start by asking you to state your full name and date of birth. I will then tell you what the allegations against you are or explain to you why you're here this morning. Then I will tell you whether the court is appointing a lawyer or a public defender to represent you. After that, I will give you the next court hearing dates and times that you'll be required to attend after this hearing. And the last thing we'll do is talk about whether you are legally eligible for release from custody. If you are, we will go over the terms and conditions of your release. You all have the right to the assistance of counsel in a criminal case. If you do not qualify for a court-appointed lawyer, you have the right to hire a lawyer to defend you in your case. You also have the right to remain silent. These are recorded criminal proceedings. That means anything that you do choose to say while you're in the courtroom will be preserved on the recording and can be used against you at any point down the line. Whether or not you qualify for a court-appointed lawyer, there will not be a lawyer in the courtroom this morning for purposes of your defense. Because you will not be represented by a lawyer in here this morning, and because anything that you choose to say could be used against you, I will strongly caution all of you not to make any statements regarding the facts about why you're here. Last thing I will tell you is all of the information that I give you while you're standing in the courtroom will be contained in a written document called a release order. You will get a copy of that document when you're done in the courtroom and you step back into the room that you're in right now. So please don't feel like you need to memorize everything we go through while you're in the courtroom, but please keep that paperwork you get with you wherever you go from here this morning. As long as you keep that paperwork, you'll still have access in that paperwork to all the information you got while you were in the courtroom. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Can I please have Micah Hodge to the podium, all the way into the courtroom behind the podium, if you would please. Mark Alvarez, if you would please work your way to that chair inside the door. Micah Hodge.
Micah Hodge. Good morning. Good morning.
He's the guy in the back wall that's asleep. Don't nudge him. Let him do it just in case.
Nudge him. Is he sleeping? What the what? Must be nice.
Okay, and Mark Alvarez. Okay, you're already there. Good. Come all the way in if you would, please.
Come on down.
Can I have your name and date of birth, please, sir?
Michael Hodge, 1993.
What's your full date of birth?
1988.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Hodge. You are here on two different matters. The first matter that you're here on is a bench warrant issued by the Superior Court when you failed to appear at a status conference in an existing felony burglary case. In that case, you already have a lawyer assigned to defend you. That lawyer will continue to represent you. Your next court hearings in that existing case will be a new status conference January 30th and then a preliminary hearing February 3rd. Both of them will be at 8:30 in the morning in the Superior Court downtown. On that existing case, you have a $2,500 secured appearance bond on that warrant. The second matter that you're here on is allegations of new charges.
Okay.
Those allegations are one count of trafficking in stolen property, that's a class 3 felony, one count of narcotic drug possession, one count of dangerous drug possession, one count of burglary, those are all class 4 felonies, and one count of drug paraphernalia possession, which is a class 6 felony. I have found probable cause to support those new allegations, and I've appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next court hearings on the new charges will be, in part, the same as your hearings on the existing case. So you will have a status conference January 30th and a preliminary hearing February 3rd. So those two hearings will be the same for both cases. The difference will be that on the new charges, because they are felony offenses alleged to have been committed while you were on pretrial release in that existing felony case, for the new charges, you are not eligible for release on bond. So on those new allegations, you will be held in custody without bail, at least until an evidentiary hearing is held. That hearing will take place January 31st at 1:30 in the afternoon. Because you will not be bond eligible on the new charges at least until the 31st, I would encourage you to wait until after that hearing on the 31st before attempting to post your bond on that existing felony case. Do you understand that information?
So,
you ain't going
home today?
I'm sorry?
Am I going home today?
No, you will not be going home at least until after your hearing on the 31st. You're going to stay in custody. You're not eligible for release until you see the judge at your evidentiary hearing on the 31st.
What's today?
Today is the 25th.
Okay.
So 6 days from now. Anything else, Mr. Hodge? All right, thank you very much. You can step back to your left and get your paperwork.
He ain't going nowhere.
Mark Alvarez to the podium in the courtroom, please. Amir Carr
This
to the
is
chair.
Arizona, Maricopa, Arizona, and this is live.
Good morning, sir. Can I please have your name and date of birth?
Mark Anthony Alvarez, 5/31/1984.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alvarez. You are here on a grand jury warrant. A state grand jury was convened and returned an indictment against you. That indictment contains one count of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, a class 3 felony, 2 counts of disorderly conduct involving weapons, both class 6 felonies, 1 count of disorderly conduct, a class 1 misdemeanor, and 1 count of assault, a class 3 misdemeanor. According to the grand jury warrant, those offenses were all committed September 27th of 2024. I have appointed a lawyer to defend you against those allegations. Your next court hearing will be an arraignment hearing January 31st. It'll be at 8:30 in the morning in the Superior Court downtown. And you do have a $50,000 cash-only bond on that warrant. If you post that bond and you're released from custody, you cannot have contact with any alleged victims or witnesses of the underlying allegations, and you cannot possess any weapons if you're released from custody. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes, I do. I have a question, though. I'm here on these cases already. I'm in custody for that. I've been in the custody since September 27, 2024.
Okay.
So, and you said it was 2 counts of...
So it's 1 count of aggravated assault, 2 counts of felony disorderly conduct, 1 count of misdemeanor disorderly conduct, 1 count of assault. So talk to your lawyer about the procedural history of this case, but most likely what happened is the state dismissed the current case and submitted a new intervening indictment. So that's probably what happened. I don't think that this is wholly new facts. I don't think these are new charges coming out of a whole new incident. It's probably just a recharging of what you're already here for. But talk to your lawyer. Your lawyer can confirm or deny that.
Okay, because I already have a lawyer on that other case. He's dismissed too?
Maybe. I don't know. If
No
I'm
sé.
right that the state dismissed the charges when the supervening indictment was issued, the
Yeah.
same lawyer will probably pick that up and still stay on with you.
Okay.
But again, I don't know that for sure. In your paperwork, you're going to have the phone number to the public defender's office. Was the lawyer representing you prior to this hearing from the public defender's office?
Well, I had it when I first came in on these charges. I had a public defender, but he wasn't helping me, so I ended up dismissing him, and they got me a pro bono lawyer, a private lawyer, and then that's the private lawyer that's been on this case, that's been helping me.
Okay.
And then now this pops up. I don't know if he's going to be dismissed as well, but I
So
really
yeah,
want him
I
here.
don't know either. So
They got you.
I don't have
Checkmate.
the authority to appoint pro bono private lawyers. I just appoint the public defender's office.
Yeah.
So I've appointed the public defender to defend you, but if you have contact information for that lawyer or your family has contact information for that lawyer that's helping you prior to this hearing, reach out to that lawyer or have your family reach out to him or her and see if that lawyer is still willing to help you. If so, that lawyer will probably know about this grand jury indictment. If not, keep your paperwork and you can communicate the case number. And if that lawyer is still willing to help you, there's no prohibition from the court on you using whoever you wish.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Alvarez. You
Yep.
can step back and get your paperwork.
Damn.
Amir Carr to the podium in the courtroom, please. Dallas Hauser to the chair.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to You Have a Collect Call From.
Good morning. Can I have your name and date of birth, please?
Amir Carr, 92295.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carr. You are here on allegations of new charges. The allegations against you are 1 count of aggravated assault by impeding breathing, 2 counts of aggravated assault causing temporary disfigurement. Those are all Class 4 felonies. 1 count of unlawful imprisonment, a Class 6 felony, 1 count of misdemeanor assault, and 1 count of misdemeanor criminal damage. I have found probable cause to support all of these allegations with the exception of aggravated assault by impeding breathing and 1 count of aggravated assault causing temporary disfigurement. So the allegations that I am finding probable cause to support are 1 count of aggravated assault causing temporary disfigurement, false imprisonment, misdemeanor assault, and misdemeanor criminal damage. I have appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next court hearings will be a status conference January 30th and then a preliminary hearing February 3rd. Both of them will be at 8:30 in the morning in the Superior Court downtown. On these allegations, I have imposed a $25,000 secured appearance bond. Secured appearance means you can use a bonding company if you choose to post that bond. If you post that bond prior to your release from custody, you will be affixed with an ankle monitor. If you post that bond and you're released on that ankle monitor, you cannot return to the scene where these alleged events took place. You cannot have any contact with the alleged victim or any alleged witnesses. You are also prohibited from possessing any weapons, alcohol, or drugs without a valid prescription. And whether or not you're released from custody, you are strictly ordered to comply with the terms of any orders of protection that have been or might later be served upon you. Do you understand those conditions?
Yeah, unfortunately, I do.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Carr. You can step back and get your paperwork.
So, for those of you wondering why they still
Dallas
have
Hauser to the podium in the
clothes?
courtroom, please.
it's because he just got picked up.
Beatty to the chair.
Batty. What the what?
Can I have your name and date of birth, please, sir?
Dallas Hauser, 72605.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hauser. You are here on a grand jury warrant. A state grand jury was convened and found probable cause to return an indictment against you.
Is that
indictment contains
is that
1
kid?
count. It is theft of a means of transportation, which is a Class 3 felony. It is alleged to have been committed September 12th of 2024. I have appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next court hearing will be an arraignment hearing January 31st. It'll be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. And on that warrant, you have a $10,000 secured appearance bond. If you post that and you are released, you cannot have contact with any alleged victims of that theft of a means of transportation allegation, and you cannot possess any drugs without a valid prescription. Do you understand those conditions?
Yeah, I got a question though,
Okay.
because I have a public defender on the case I'm in custody in right now. So, like, will I get a new public defender or what?
That's up to the public defender's office. So I've appointed the public defender to represent you in this new case. It will be up to them whether you get the same lawyer or you have 2 different lawyers, but in any event, you will have a lawyer on both cases. Okay, any other questions? All right, thank you, sir. You can step back and get your paperwork.
Hey, that look like Kid from Kid and Play.
Paul Batty to the
Batty.
podium in the courtroom, please. Gabriel Jimenez, if you would please work your way to the chair.
The chair. I just got here.
Good morning, sir. I apologize if I mispronounced your name. Can I ask you to state it and tell me your date of birth, please?
My name's Taurus Hall Beatty, and 9493.
Thank you very much, Mr. Beatty. All right, you are here on two different matters. Both of the matters that you're here on allege new allegations against you, but in two different ways.
What up, Snow? Buenos dias.
Will you reprint 23, please?
Okay, the first matter that you're here on is new allegations in a written document called a direct complaint. And I sort of misspoke. It's a new allegation, just one allegation in that direct complaint. It is narcotic drug possession, a class 4 felony, alleged to have been committed January 2nd of 2024. The second matter that you're here on is allegations of new charges based on a new arrest. Those allegations are 2 counts of narcotic drug possession and 2 counts of dangerous drug possession, all class 4 felonies. On those new arrest charges, I have found probable cause to support 2 counts of narcotic drug possession, but I've only found probable cause to support 1 count of dangerous drug possession, not 2. In both of these cases, I've appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next hearings in both cases will be the same. You will have a status conference January 30th and then a preliminary hearing February 3rd in both cases, and those hearings will be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown.
Gracias.
On the direct complaint, you have a $10,000 secured appearance bond. On the new arrest charges, your bond is $1,000. So your total bond is $11,000. It is all secured appearance. If you post that and you're released from custody, you cannot possess any weapons or any drugs without a valid prescription. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes. What if I had a rehab I was getting ready to go to as well, like in a couple of days?
Well, if you get that bond posted, you can still do that. If you don't post the bond, you'll stay in custody at least until your first hearing on the 30th. What will happen at that hearing and in regards to your release conditions after that hearing will be up to that judge on the 30th. Okay. So if you post that bond, you can go to rehab as scheduled. If you're scheduled to enroll in rehab after the 30th and you don't post that bond, it's still possible for you to make that. If you don't get released on the 30th, then I would say you probably want to stay in contact with that rehab facility and see if they can hold your bed.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
No, that's it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You have now.
Step back and get your paperwork.
Hey, who was here last night for the 10 p.m. hearing? If you guys weren't here, definitely check out the last video that I posted up. Wow. This one lady had 5 counts of what? I'm not going to tell you, I don't want to spoil it for you, but if you weren't here yesterday, definitely check out my profile and check out that video. It's going to definitely knock your socks off.
Stephen Maroney, if you would work your way to the chair, please. Okay, good morning, sir. Can I have your name and date of birth?
CL20s.
June 3rd, 1987.
Thank you, Mr. Jimenez. You are here on 2 arrest warrants after 2 different direct complaints were filed alleging new allegations against you. The first of those direct complaints alleges 1 count of shoplifting, a class 5 felony allegedly committed September 4th of 2024. The second direct complaint alleges 1 count of theft of a credit card, also a class 5 felony. That one alleged to have been committed August 25th of 2024. In both of these cases, I've appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next hearings in both cases will be a status conference January 30th and then a preliminary hearing February 3rd, both at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On each of these 2 warrants, you have a $5,000 secured appearance bond. So your total bond is $10,000. It is all secured appearance. If you post that and you are released, you cannot return to the scene where the alleged shoplifting offense took place. You cannot have contact with any alleged witnesses or victims of either of the allegations, and you can't possess any weapons or drugs without a valid prescription. Do you understand those conditions? All right. Thank you, Mr. Jimenez. You can step back and get your paperwork. Stephen Maroney to the podium in the courtroom, please.
Hell nah, I never been to the
Pinta. If you please work your way to the chair.
Nope. No, thank you.
Good morning. Can I please have your name and date of birth?
Stephen Richard Maroney, 10/20/85.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maroney. You are here on I think it's a grand jury warrant, but let me double check. It's a direct complaint warrant. Okay, so you're here on an arrest warrant issued after a direct complaint was filed. That direct complaint alleges 1 count of misconduct involving weapons alleged to have been committed August 9th of 2024. Specifically, the allegation is that you were a prohibited possessor on that day. You are entitled to a court-appointed lawyer, and I have appointed one to defend you. Your next court hearings will be a status conference January 30th, and then a preliminary hearing February 3rd. Both of them will be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On that warrant, you have a $1,500 secured appearance bond. If you post that bond and you're released from custody, you cannot possess any weapons once you're released. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Maroney. Officer, I need to ask my clerk to reprint it, but she'll reprint it. We need to flip your paperwork out, but we'll bring it out to you here in just a second.
Hey, so if anybody's wondering what I'm talking about, that girl, she had a protective order.
Campos to the podium in the courtroom, please. Benjamin West, if you would please work your way to the chair.
She had a no contact order with dogs. So that'll.
Can I have your name and date of birth, please, sir?
Hey, thank you.
Campos, 4/28/2000.
Thank you very much, Mr. Campos. You are here on two different matters. The first matter that you're here on is allegations of new charges. Those allegations are 1 count of drug paraphernalia possession, a Class 6 felony, and 2 counts of shoplifting, both Class 1 misdemeanors. I have found probable cause to support those allegations, and I have appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next court hearings on the new charges will be a status conference January 30th and then a preliminary hearing February 3rd, both of them at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On those new charges, I have imposed a $1,500 secured appearance bond. The second matter that you're here on is an allegation that the new charges violated Term 1 of your probation. In the probation matter, I've also appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next court hearing in that probation case will be a revocation arraignment January 31st at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On the probation matter, I've imposed a $500 secured appearance bond. So your total bond will be $2,000 for both cases. It is all secured appearance. If you post that and you are released, you cannot return to the scene where the alleged shoplifting offenses took place, and you cannot possess any drugs without a valid prescription. Okay. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Campos. You can step back and get your paperwork. Benjamin West to the podium in the courtroom, please. Randall Maxwell, if you'd please work your way to the chair. Officer, did you get the FOJ's card?
The one FOJ is not currently in the courtroom. I'm going to be bringing her in a bit, but I will take her the card.
And will there be enough time? Like, will you bring her in a little bit before so she has time to read? Okay, thank you.
I just want to get some of these guys out because she is in isolation for fraternizing with male inmates.
Oh, okay. All right. Understood. Thank you.
I also have a few questions.
Okay, let me get through what I have to get through first, and then we'll open it for questions. All right. What's your name and date of birth, please, sir?
Benjamin Brady West, 063088.
Thank you very much, Mr. West. Okay, you're here on 4 different matters. The first matter that you're here on is an allegation of a new charge. That allegation is 1 count of criminal damage. It is a Class 6 felony. I have found probable cause to support that allegation and appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next court hearings on the new charge will be a status conference January 30th and then a preliminary hearing February 3rd. Both of them will be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On that new allegation, I have imposed a $1,000 secured appearance bond.
What up, Casey?
The other 3 matters that you're here on are all allegations that that new charge violates Term 1 of your probation in 3 different cases. In all 3 of those probation cases, I've appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next hearing in the 3 probation cases will be a revocation arraignment January 31st at 8:30, also downtown. On those 3 probation matters, I have imposed a total secured appearance bond of $1,000. It's $500 on one of the probation cases, $250 on the other 2. So your total bond for all 4 matters will be $2,000, all secured appearance. If you post that and you're released from custody, you cannot go back to the scene where the alleged criminal damage allegation took place. You cannot have contact with any alleged victims or witnesses of that allegation, and you cannot possess or consume any alcohol or drugs without a valid prescription. Okay, do you understand your release conditions?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, what is your question, or what are your questions?
I would like to get help on filing. I need help on filing a motion against few security companies, and because they trespassed me for no reason. And it's
filing a motion for what?
For these companies, security companies.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, they like harass me, and then it's on camera everywhere I go. So I would like to get a lawyer and press charges to put out a lawsuit, get the evidence, camera evidence, audio, no audio, everywhere I go.
Okay, here's the deal. So I've appointed a lawyer to defend you in these criminal cases. So that lawyer can help you gather evidence in your defense in these cases. If what you're asking is how to pursue a civil case against any party, you'll have to contact a private lawyer to talk to them about that.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions, Mr. West?
I just need help doing that because they say
they're gonna get you the help.
22nd Street to Jefferson Street, where CVS is, all the way to the convention center, all those businesses. And I usually shop and get my food at Fry's with my food stamp card, and cause no trouble.
Well, at least while this case is pending, you'll have to find a different Fry's to shop at. If you're trespassed from that whole area, don't go back until you get confirmation that that trespass is lifted. If you want help defending these allegations, use the lawyer that I've appointed. If you want help in a different legal context, you'll have to hire a lawyer to help you. All right, thanks, Mr. West. You can step back and get your paperwork. Randall Maxwell to the podium in the courtroom, please. Isaac Russell, if you'd please work your way to the chair.
Next. Contestant on The Price is Wrong.
Can I have your name and date of birth, please, sir?
Randall Maxwell, February 20th, 1990.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maxwell. You are here on a bench warrant issued by the Superior Court when you failed to appear at a status conference in an existing felony drug case.
That guy can't breathe.
You have a lawyer already defending you in that case. That lawyer will continue to represent you. Your next court hearings will be a new status conference January 30th and then a preliminary hearing February 3rd. Both of them will be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. And you have a $500 secured appearance bond on that warrant. If you post that bond and you're released, you cannot possess any drugs without a valid prescription once you're released. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes. Just
Hey, Z, welcome.
Would I be able to request an OR? I was sick when I missed those. I'm still sick. They actually came to my house and pulled me out of my bed. So is there any way that I could do an OR and come back on Monday? First thing, because I've already been to medical twice since I've been here for the last couple hours.
Breathe. Something's wrong with him.
I'm be on my way back. It's just.
I don't know.
Just 1 second.
I'm not a medical professional, but it sounds like he's having an asthma attack.
Yeah, that's the only reason I missed court was just being sick.
That's my uneducated guess right there. What do you guys think?
Okay, so...
You got any doctors in the house?
The short answer is no.
Doctors?
I'm not willing to remove that bond. It looks like this is at least your second failure to appear in this specific case. So I am going to impose that $500 bond. You will have to post that in order to be eligible for release.
Okay.
Any other questions, Mr. Maxwell?
That's it.
All right, thank you very much. You can work your way back to your left and get your paperwork.
Good luck to you. Vayas con Dios, amigo.
Isaac Russell to the podium in the courtroom, please. Donald Robbins to the chair.
The chair. Damn, I just got picked up.
Can I have your name and date of birth, please, sir?
Isaac Anthony Russell, February 15th, 1985.
Thank you very much, Mr. Russell. You are here on two different matters.
He looks like that dude from
Both of the matters
RoboCop.
you're here on allege new allegations against you, just in two different ways. The first matter you're here on is new allegations based on a written document called a direct complaint. The allegations in that direct complaint are 1 count of dangerous drug possession, 1 count of narcotic drug possession, those are both class 4 felonies, and 1 count of drug paraphernalia possession, which is a class 6 felony. Those offenses are alleged to have been committed June 10th of 2022. The second matter that you're here on is an allegation of a new charge based on a new arrest. That allegation is 1 count of narcotic drug possession, a class 4 felony, and I have found probable cause to support that allegation. Your next court hearing, skip the lawyer. You're entitled to a lawyer. I've appointed a lawyer for you in both of those two cases. Your next court hearings in each of those cases will be a status conference January 30th and then a preliminary hearing February 3rd. Both of them will be at 8:30 in the morning in the Superior Court downtown. On the direct complaint allegations, you have a $100 secured appearance bond. On the new narcotic drug allegation, you have a $500 secured appearance bond. So your total bond is $600. It is all secured appearance. If you post that and you're released from custody, you cannot return to the scene where you were arrested today or yesterday. And you are also prohibited from possessing any drugs without a valid prescription. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Russell. You can step back and get your paperwork.
Next.
Donald
next,
Robbins
next.
to the podium in the courtroom, please.
Hey,
Brandon
welcome.
Politz
For
to
those
the
of you
chair.
wondering, this is Maricopa County, Arizona. Yes, they have court on Saturday. Yes, they have court Saturday morning, and they have court every day of the year.
Can I have your name and date of birth, please, sir?
Donald Robbins, 11/18/57.
Thank you very much, Mr. Robbins. You are here on an initial arrest warrant issued by the Santan Justice Court. That warrant alleges new allegations against you, all misdemeanor allegations. The first is criminal trespassing in a residential structure. Second allegation is theft. Both of those are Class 1 misdemeanors. The third allegation is criminal trespassing, a Class 3 misdemeanor. You are entitled to a court-appointed lawyer for purposes of release conditions on that warrant. That lawyer will be appointed for you by the next judge you see at your next court hearing. That hearing will be an arraignment hearing January 30th. It'll take place at 8:30 in the morning in the Santan Justice Court. And on that warrant, you have a $680 secured appearance bond. If you post that and you're released, you cannot go back to the scene where the alleged trespassing allegations took place, and you cannot have contact with any alleged victims or witnesses. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Robbins. If you'll head back to your left.
Is there another probation violation or?
I don't have another probation violation case to see you on. I suppose that doesn't mean one couldn't be coming down the road, but that arrest warrant is the only thing that I have to see you on here right now.
Those 3 misdemeanors in Santan, that's it?
That's right. Yep, 3 misdemeanors, Santan. It looks like the alleged offense date is January 20th of 2025, so allegedly committed 5 days ago.
Right, all right.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Robbins.
Yeah, good luck, you whippersnapper.
Brandon Politz to the podium in the courtroom.
Next,
please. Shayna Solis to the chair.
Who do you guys think the next individual? What do you guys got to guess their charges by putting up an emoji?
Can I have your name and date of birth, please?
Brandon Polis, 21593.
Thank you very much, Mr. Politz. You are here on a bench warrant issued by the probation court when you failed to appear at a revocation arraignment hearing. You have a lawyer already assigned to represent you in that probation case. That lawyer will continue to defend you. Your next court hearing will be a new revocation arraignment January 31st. It'll be at 8:30 downtown, and you have a $250 secured appearance bond on that warrant. If you post that and you're released, you will be required to get yourself to that court hearing, and you can't possess any drugs without a valid prescription. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes,
all right. Thank you, sir. You can step back and get your paperwork. Shayna Solis to the podium in the courtroom, please. Brian Iron Necklace to the chair.
Iron Necklace? Whoa, that's pretty
Good
cool.
morning. Can I have your name and date of birth, please?
Shauna Solis, 1/31/1985.
Thank you very much, Ms. Solis. You are here on a bench warrant issued by the probation court when you failed to appear at a revocation arraignment hearing. You have a lawyer assigned to you already in that probation case. That lawyer will continue to defend you. Your next court hearing will be...
Thank you for the like.
Can you check that, Dana? I don't think this is right. Unless I'm wrong. 1 second.
Hold up. I got to make sure I got my notes ready. And after this court, we're going to be having court in Tucson. And that'll be in about 30 minutes or so. Or if this court ends. As soon as this court ends, we'll go over to Tucson.
I'm going to get your court hearing date corrected. Your next court hearing will be a new revocation arraignment hearing, and it will take place January 31st. It'll be in the probation court downtown. You have a $50 secured appearance bond on that warrant. If you post that bond, you'll be responsible for getting yourself to court on January 31st, and you cannot possess any weapons or drugs without a valid prescription. Do you understand those conditions?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. We'll get your hearing is wrong in this paperwork, so I'm going to get it corrected, and we'll print you a correct copy and bring it out to you.
So what am I being charged with again? I'm not understanding what it is.
So it looks like you're in probation violation proceedings. There was a hearing in the probation proceeding called a revocation arraignment, and you did not appear.
I thought it was a misdemeanor.
Well, I'm seeing you on a failure to appear at a felony probation revocation arration hearing. So the warrant, the warrant that I'm seeing
get out of there. She was going to let you go.
Attend a court hearing.
Yeah, is that the court? That's what I asked you. Is that the court hearing that I missed?
Well,
I'm
that
just
I missed.
asking.
You are here because you missed a court hearing.
Just
I don't know
go.
which one yours.
You better run.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Get out of here.
Brian Iron Necklace to the podium in the courtroom, please. Tyler Begay to the chair.
Begay? Let me see, Angela. Yo, so sorry, I have another question.
Can I have your name and date of birth, please, sir?
Brian Robert Iron Necklace, 5/9/1973.
Thank you very much, sir. You are here on a post-adjudication warrant issued by the Goodyear Municipal Court. It looks like it's on a misdemeanor drug paraphernalia possession case. Because that's a post-adjudication misdemeanor matter, that means you're not entitled to a court-appointed lawyer. If you don't already have a lawyer working with you on this case, but you want one, you will have to hire a lawyer to represent you going forward. Your next court hearing will be an arraignment hearing February 12th. It'll be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon in the Goodyear Municipal Court. I am releasing you on your own recognizance, so you're going to be out of custody and you'll be responsible for getting yourself to that court hearing. Once you're released, you are ordered not to possess any drugs without a valid prescription. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes, ma'am. You give me a copy of the court date?
Yes, that's right. It'll be in your paperwork.
All
Yep.
right.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Iron Necklace.
Iron Necklace.
Tyler Begay to the podium in the courtroom, please. Alexander Jarnig to the chair.
Iron Necklace definitely looks a bit rough, on the rough side. He looks like he came up from across
Can I have your
the
name and date of birth,
tracks.
please, sir?
Tyler Begay. 8/9/92.
Thank you very much, Mr. Begay. You are here on an allegation of a new charge. The allegation is one count of assault, a Class 3 misdemeanor. I have found probable cause to support that allegation, and I've determined you are entitled to a court-appointed lawyer to represent you. That lawyer will be appointed for you by the next judge you see at your next court hearing.
Okay.
That hearing will be an arraignment hearing February 11th. It'll take place at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in the Buckeye Municipal Court. I am releasing you on your own recognizance, so you will be released from custody and you will be responsible for getting yourself to that hearing February 11th. Once you are released from custody, you cannot return to the scene where this alleged assault took place. You cannot have any contact with the alleged victim or any alleged witnesses. You are also prohibited from possessing any weapons or possessing or consuming any alcohol or drugs without a valid prescription. Mr. Begay, if these orders mean that I'm ordering you not to return to your primary residence, you must find an alternate residence between when you're released and at least your first hearing on the 11th, February 11th. If you need to return to the location where these alleged events took place to retrieve clothing, toiletries, items you might need for work,
Did somebody
you
say
can
toilet?
have one civil standby, which means you can go back to that location one time accompanied by a law enforcement officer to retrieve any items there that you might need between now and February 11th. Do you understand that information?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Begay. You can step back and get your paperwork.
Mr. Begay.
Alexander Jarnik to the
Good day
podium
to you,
in the
sir.
courtroom, please. Mariah
Next.
Buckner, if you would work your way to the chair.
They're definitely busy today. Everybody got picked up.
Can I have your name and date of birth, please, sir?
Yes, Alexander Jarnig, date of birth January 9th, 1990.
Thank you, Mr. Jarnig. You are here on allegations of new charges. The allegations against you are one count of exhibition of speed or racing, one count of aggressive driving,
Fast
2
and
counts of
Furious.
endangerment, and 1 count of driving on a
We got a
suspended, revoked, or
Vin Diesel in
canceled
here.
driver's license. They are all Class 1 misdemeanor allegations. Because these are all misdemeanor allegations, you are not entitled to a court-appointed lawyer to defend you. That doesn't mean you cannot have a lawyer. It just means the court can't appoint a public defender for you. So if you wish to have a lawyer defend you in this case, you will have to hire a lawyer at your own expense. Your next court hearing will be an arraignment hearing February 13th. It'll be at 8:30 in the El Centro Justice Court. I am releasing you on your own recognizance, so you will be out of custody and you will be responsible for getting yourself to that next court hearing. Once you're released from custody, you are ordered not to operate a motor vehicle if you don't have a valid driver's license. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jarnig. You can
Hey,
step back and get your paperwork.
this guy was not too fast, too
I
furious.
had paid off my license, so I guess the officer said that I have to go to DMV to reinstate it. So if I'm able to do that and show that proof when I come to that court, does that dismiss that because of that, or is there a different way that works?
Well, so at this point in the proceedings, these are allegations. No formal charges have been filed yet.
Okay.
So that will not hurt your case. I will say that for sure. But when you go to that court hearing, it's possible that those charges won't be filed, but if they are filed, presenting that proof will never make your case worse. Okay. I can't guarantee that if charges are filed and you present that, this will be dismissed, but it won't make matters worse if you're able to provide that proof.
Okay. Right,
okay.
Thank you.
That was sort of my circular roundabout answer. I don't know what would happen, but it is likely that that would be helpful in your case.
Rather than maybe worse. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
No, that would be all.
All right. Thank you very much. You can sit back and get your paperwork. Mariah Buckner to the podium in the courtroom, please. Anthony Brown Jr., if you would please work your way to the chair.
We're in Maricopa County.
Is he out there?
Maricopa County.
Okay. Can I have your name and date of birth, please?
Mariah Buckner, 2903.
Thank you very much, Ms. Buckner. You are here on two different matters. The first matter that you're here on is a bench warrant issued by the Superior Court when you failed to appear at a status conference in an existing felony drug case. In that case, you already have a lawyer assigned to represent you. That lawyer will continue to defend you. Your next court hearing in that existing felony case will be a new status conference February 3rd at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. And on that warrant, you have a $250 secured appearance bond. The second matter that you're here on is an out-of-state felony warrant issued by the state of Minnesota. Mr. Brown, you can stay in the chair, but if you would, I'll call you in and we'll go through your information individually here when I'm done with her. But if you could just keep your ears open and listen to what I tell her right now about the different options on the Minnesota warrant, because your warrant is also issued by the state of Minnesota, so the same information will apply to you. We'll go through it. You will have every opportunity to ask questions, but I'm trying to save myself some time from having to repeat all this twice. So if you'll just listen, I'll call you in. We'll go through yours individually after. Okay, thanks, sir.
Minnesota.
Okay, Ms. Buckner, the second matter you're here on is a felony warrant issued by the state of Minnesota. Before you were put on a court calendar here in Arizona, Minnesota confirmed with Arizona that is a valid warrant, and Minnesota is willing to extradite you. That means Minnesota wants to come to Arizona and take you back to Minnesota. Because that's an out-of-state warrant, your hearing will look different than other people's that you may have heard before. On the Minnesota warrant, you will have a choice to make. Did you get that big card to review before you came into the courtroom?
Mm-hmm.
Can you say yes or no, please?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you read that card?
Yeah.
Okay. On the Minnesota warrant, like I said, you will have a choice to make. The first choice that you can make is you can waive your right. This is the information that'll be the same for you. The first choice you can make is to waive your right to an extradition hearing here in Arizona and agree that Minnesota can come and take you back. If you pick that first option, you are only waiving your right to extradition proceedings here in Arizona. You are not waiving any rights or defenses you have in the underlying criminal case in Minnesota. If you pick that first option and you waive your right to an extradition hearing, you will be held in custody here in Maricopa County without bond for up to 30 days to allow Minnesota an opportunity to come get you. That 30-day time period will start ticking tomorrow unless you have local charges unresolved, and in this case I know you do because you're here on a warrant. So if you pick that first option and you waive your right to an extradition hearing, you will remain in custody without bond for up to 30 days after your local case reaches disposition. So once you take a plea, the case is dismissed, or you're found guilty on the Arizona criminal charge, then you'll wait 30 days for Minnesota to come get you. So that's option one. Waive your right to an extradition hearing, agree that Minnesota can come and take you back. Option two is you don't waive your right to an extradition hearing. If you pick option two, I will set an extradition hearing for February 3rd at 1:30 in the afternoon. Extradition proceedings in Arizona are civil, not criminal. That means I cannot appoint a lawyer to defend you in the extradition proceedings, but you do have the right to hire a lawyer if you wish to be represented and you pick option two and you go through the extradition proceedings. If you pick option two and I set that extradition hearing, you are bond eligible on the Minnesota warrant. Your Minnesota bond would be set at $10,000 secured appearance. If you posted that bond and your $250 bond on the local charge, you would be eligible for release from custody. You would be required to stay in Arizona. If you did not or could not post those bonds, you would remain in custody while your local case is proceeding and the extradition proceedings are taking place. If you pick option 2 and I set that hearing, the time period from the hearing to the date that both governors, the governor of Arizona and the governor of Minnesota, sign a warrant could be up to 90 days. It is once those 2 warrants are signed by each governor that you're then obligated to return to Minnesota. So option 2 is you don't waive your right to an extradition hearing. I set a hearing for February 3rd at 1:30. You'll have a $10,000 secured appearance bond. That process could take up to 90 days before governor's warrants are signed. The one caveat is in option 2, that 90-day time period runs while your local case is happening as well. So in the first option, it was wait for your local case to reach disposition plus 30 days. Option 2, that 90-day time period runs concurrent at the same time as your local criminal case. Do you understand the 2 options?
Thanks, Penny.
So I'll have 2 different bonds.
Yeah, you'd have a $10,000 bond on the Minnesota warrant and a $250 bond on the Arizona failure to appear warrant.
Okay, so like if somebody was to take care of that, would they take care of that like at the same time, or do they have to call 2 different people for that?
Yeah, no, you would do it all at once. All of it would be handled through the bonds and fines office down at the 4th Avenue facility. You would not want to post one of the bonds and not the other, because then
I wouldn't be able to.
You wouldn't get out. Yeah, so you can use a bonding company for both of them. And if you elected to go that route, you could probably do that yourself by calling a bonding company here in the facility. You could also probably have somebody contact a bonding company on your behalf, and they could do that too. But you would have to post that full $10,250 in order to get out. And that's only true if you pick option 2.
Wait, so I can't get a bond agency with the 10?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Yeah, so the total amount would be $10,250. You could work with a bonding company for all of it.
Yeah, so it could be cheaper with the bonding agency then?
Your out-of-pocket upfront cost would be lower if you go to a bonding company.
Okay, yeah. I'm just making sure because I'm like 10,000 is pricey.
You're
so
getting
is that
that
what
back.
you want to do? You want to go with option 2 and be bond eligible?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Then I will set that extradition hearing February 3rd at 1:30. Your hearings on the local charge will be, just one on the local charge will be February 3rd at 8:30. So on February 3rd, if you post that bond and you're out of custody, just plan to be in court downtown all day, because you have an 8:30 and then a 1:30.
Okay, February 3rd?
February 3rd. All that's going to be in your paperwork.
I'll mark
all
my
right. Any
calendar.
questions, Ms. Buckner?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll get your paperwork printed, bring it out to you if you'll step back to your left.
Because she don't want to face the charges, and she wants to get a head start in Minnesota.
All right, come on in, Mr. Brown.
I think, but that's just my guess. She wants to go on the run.
Okay, can I have your name and date of birth, please?
Anthony Brown, 5'11",
Thank you very much, Mr. Brown. Okay, Mr. Brown, you are also here on a felony warrant issued by the state of Minnesota. Same thing applies to you. Before you were put on a court docket here in Arizona, Minnesota did confirm with Arizona that that warrant is valid and they are willing to extradite you, which means they will come to Arizona and take you back. Before you came into the courtroom, did you get that big card to review?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you read that card?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. I will go through briefly the same options that I went through with Ms. Buckner that are a little bit more applicable to your circumstances, but please feel free to ask any questions that you might have. At the end of this, I will ask you which option you intend to pick.
Yes,
there anybody here?
Okay. The first choice that you can make on this felony warrant is you can waive your right to an extradition hearing here in Arizona. If you do that, you are not waiving any defenses or rights you have in the underlying criminal case in Minnesota. You are only waiving extradition proceedings, and you're agreeing that Minnesota can come to Arizona and take you back. If you pick that first option, you will be held in custody here in Maricopa County with no bond for up to 30 days to allow Minnesota to come get you. That 30-day time period will start ticking tomorrow, which would be January 26th. I don't have any reason to believe that you have local charges pending in Arizona, but if you do that, and I don't know about them, that 30 days won't start ticking until they are resolved. So option 1, waive your right to an extradition hearing, agree to go back to Minnesota, stay in custody for up to 30 days, no bond. If you don't pick that option, your second option is to have an extradition hearing held and require that governor's warrants are signed by Arizona and Minnesota before you're returned. If you pick that second option, I will set an extradition hearing for February 3rd at 1:30 in the afternoon. I cannot appoint a lawyer to defend you in the extradition proceeding if you pick option 2, but you do have the right to hire a lawyer if you pick that option and you wish to be represented. If you pick option 2 and we set that hearing, you are bond eligible. Your bond would be $15,000 secured appearance. You could use a bonding company to post that. If you picked option 2 and you posted that bond, you would have to stay in Arizona. So if you picked option 2, you couldn't post that bond and then take yourself back to Minnesota. You'd have to stay here in Arizona. If you pick option 2, the time period between that initial hearing on February 3rd and getting governor's warrant signed could be up to 90 days. Yes.
It's like, I just was in Towers for 6 months.
Okay.
And this warrant was issued while I was in Towers. So I called.
The warrant was issued.
I just got out of jail. I just got out of jail 8 days ago. Okay. I've been locked up for this whole 2024, so I haven't been out in custody. So all this was happening while I've been in custody here.
Okay.
So Minnesota knows that. So, and I spoke with my lawyer, and he said that
in Minnesota, your lawyer in Minnesota. Okay.
Yeah, he said that the warrant wasn't extraditable. I don't know.
It says full extradition.
I know, but it's not. I'm not worried about it. But that's when I got released last week or whatever, and he was telling me that I spoke with my probation officer down on 67 in Glendale, and she was giving me the permit to go take care of this and everything or whatever. So I just went to her office yesterday, and then she like had me arrested or whatever for this warrant. But she was like, everything's been going good, and she was going to give me a permit to leave state to go take care of this, so I won't have no more problems and whatever. Because I've been in custody the whole 2024. I've been in custody like the whole year. So yeah,
and I don't know. I do know that the warrant was issued September 11th of 2024, but I don't have any information as to when the alleged underlying offense took place.
Oh yeah, it's like maybe a couple years ago.
Oh,
it's pretty old. Pretty old. But
so yeah, I mean, it sounds like you sort of got stuck in an unfortunate situation. I can't do anything about. I mean, all I can do is either hold you if you pick option 1 and let Minnesota come pick you up, or give you that $15,000 bond if you pick option 2. I will tell you, are you saying that if you pick option 2 and you post that bond, you want the ability to go back to Minnesota?
Yes, because my probation officer said I can. That way I don't keep having to, being stuck. Like, she was like kind of sad today because like, she was like, you've been doing so good on probation. And I've been, getting out doing good, calling her, seeing her, and obeying all the laws and everything. When I went to the office Friday morning, she had me arrested for this warrant. But she was like, man, you've been doing so good. I'm sorry for that. So if I was going to give you the permit to go take care of these problems or whatever, so you won't have to keep doing that. And then she was like, she's going to try to figure something out. So I won't get in, because if I go up there and can't see my probation here, they can put a warrant out for me. So I don't want to keep doing this. And I want something to be done about it.
So if you pick option 2 and I set that extradition hearing, you have the ability to petition the extradition judge for permission to leave the state. She's the one that would have to grant that. I don't know whether she would or not. I don't know how inclined she is to allow somebody to return to the state that is trying to extradite them. So I can't say she would allow that. I can't say she wouldn't. But she is the one, the extradition judge is the one to petition for permission to leave out of state. And you can do that on the 3rd or anytime thereafter after you see her. If you pick option 2. If you pick option 1, you just stay in custody. Minnesota comes to get you, and then you're stuck in Minnesota after 30 days until they release you, and then you have your Arizona probation pending, and you kind of get stuck in that
I don't
situation.
want to just keep going back and forth with warrants and stuff like that, like not contacting her, being down there, and not coming to see her or whatever. I don't know, but so if I try to have my people to place a bail up there in Minnesota,
you would do it here. You would post the bond here.
Hello.
You would post it here in order to secure your appearance out of custody here in Arizona. So that $15,000 bond, if you post it, it's an Arizona bond. And so long as you go to all of the extradition hearings that are set and comply with the extradition requirements, if there are any in those hearings, that $15,000 bond would be released back to you. That's an Arizona bond, not a Minnesota bond.
Oh, okay. So if I pay the bond for here, I can get released and they won't have a problem with it?
Go on the run.
Well, you would be on release while the extradition proceedings are taking place here in Arizona. So if you post that bond, you get out of this facility. You have to stay in Arizona. You have to voluntarily submit yourself to every court hearing in the extradition proceedings. If at the end of the extradition proceedings, what the result 100%. Is that Arizona and Minnesota's governors sign a warrant for extradition, then you would be taken into custody and transferred to Minnesota.
Okay, I don't want to go through all that. But when I got extradited here from Minnesota, that's why I'm saying I don't want to go back and forth, because Maricopa went to Minnesota and got me in 2024, like April or something. So
he kind of sounds like Little Wayne.
And you've already, whatever your sentence was is completed.
Yes, I did.
Now you're just working on your probation tail.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I think the good news is if you go back to Minnesota, Arizona has no reason then to re-extradite you, so I don't think you would be going back and forth, but for the fact that you still have probation here. But it sounds like your PO might be willing to work with you.
Yeah, she was saying it, so I hope she do. I just, hope so. I don't want her to, that's why I'm, speaking with the judge. I don't want her to, issue a warrant within 2 months. And remember I was talking about this.
Yeah, and I can't stop. I mean, I can't order adult probation not to issue any warrants, but all I could tell you is if you waive your right to extradition and you go back to Minnesota, what I would tell you is continue to communicate with your probation officer. Don't ever let communication lapse.
Okay.
That will help your case. You can also, if you're still in contact, did you have a lawyer defending you in the underlying criminal case?
In Minnesota?
In Arizona. Whatever you were on probation
yeah.
So whatever you're on probation for here in Arizona, I would say always stay in contact with your probation officer. So if you end up waiving and going back to Minnesota, make sure that you take her phone number with you so that you can still call her wherever you are. And in the event you get in a bind, I would say keep the lawyer that defended you in the Arizona criminal cases number. If for some reason something's going sideways or you don't think that you're getting valid communication with your Arizona probation officer, you could always try to reach out to that lawyer for legal advice on the Arizona case.
Okay. Because when I waited for Arizona to come,
he's trying to confuse the judge.
Minnesota might. I mean, I don't know how quick
agencies are. You ain't going nowhere, homeboy.
Okay, so do you understand what your two choices are on the Minnesota warrant?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you know which one you want to pick?
Number one.
You want to waive your right and go back?
Number one.
Okay. Because you are waiving a right that you are legally entitled to, I do need to ask you some questions for purposes of the recording. You've been doing great. I just need you to answer them out loud, so don't shake or nod your head, say yes or no as we go through this. Okay, first question you've already answered, but I'm going to ask it again. Did you get that big laminated card?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you read that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you understand you do not have to waive your right to an extradition hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you have the right to demand an extradition hearing be held?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand you have the right to hire a lawyer to defend you in the extradition proceedings if you elected to have one?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand you have the right to have governor's warrants signed by both Arizona and Minnesota before your return to Minnesota?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you elected to have an extradition hearing, you would be eligible for release on bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you wish to give up those rights and sign the waiver of extradition paperwork?
Yes, ma'am.
Has anybody threatened you or promised you anything in exchange for your signature on the waiver paperwork?
Yes, ma'am. No sé. Can you repeat that again?
No, ma'am.
I'm going to ask that again. Has anybody threatened you or promised you anything in exchange for your signature on the waiver?
Can I get a translator?
Have you had any drugs, alcohol, or medication in the last 24 hours that would affect your ability to waive a legal right?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I will find that you are knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily signing the waiver of extradition paperwork. After you sign, I will also sign. Once we both sign, I will notify the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office to notify Minnesota you are ready to return. They will have 30 days starting tomorrow to come get you. Do you have any questions before I ask you to sign?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Brown. If you'll step up to your right, unlike everybody else, I need you to actually sign.
I'm sorry about that. I was thinking about.
No, that's okay. If there's any hesitation, I want people to be confident, so.
Sign that paperwork. So did he stay in custody? Hell yeah, he ain't going nowhere. Minnesota's gonna have to come pick him up. They got 30 days. After 30 days, they're supposed to let him go from Arizona, but sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes they'll hold you longer.
Is your mom in Minnesota? Yeah. Okay, well.
They could do whatever they want.
Maybe they'll come sooner.
Maybe. Minnesota will be down there fast. That's right, Shelby. All right. Hey, so if you haven't done so, please do so. Hit that follow button. It's free 99, does not cost you a thing. And welcome to You Have a Collect Call From, where we just do all kinds of prison incarcerated activities. Minnesota don't play. Tap, tap, tap. If you're not tapping, you are napping. Hey, Jane, thank you for the follow. They never said what he was being extradited for. Deb, thank you. Deb, tap, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Brown. She'll finalize that. I'll get it signed. If you'll step back to your left, we'll bring it out to you.
Man, get that guy out of here.
Go back so we can get you on.
Want a lot.
Say it again?
The bail bondsman here want a lot more than the bail bondsman in Arizona.
Yeah, what is it in Minnesota?
It's just like cash. That's all. It's 3% actually.
3%.
Okay. Yeah, in Arizona, it's somewhere between 10 and 20 is what I've heard.
Yeah, it's 3% in Minnesota. That's
Come on, we got court in.
Yeah, when you see the Minnesota, once you get
Pima.
back, probably you'll see a Minnesota judge for a hearing like this on the underlying criminal case in Minnesota, and they'll tell you what your release conditions in Minnesota will be.
Okay.
So maybe you'll luck out and it'll be lower.
When I heard,
come on, man.
I've been in custody and I ain't been able to do nothing. Like, you know.
It's not like you were intentionally evading this hearing. Yeah.
Nah, he wasn't evading. It was
Okay,
an
good luck to
accident.
you, Mr. Brown.
I hate when that happens.
All right, number 1 on the calendar. You didn't give me number 1.
Numero uno. I didn't catch his name.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But if you go to YouTube, the video will be up and you could replay it back.
All right, number 1 on the calendar, Elena Lorraine Tutstone, date of birth 2/15/81, is not in the courtroom because she was unable to function in general population due to bizarre behavior. She is here on 3 different matters. The first is an allegation of a new charge. That allegation is 1 count of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, a class 3 felony. I have found probable cause to support that allegation, and I've appointed a lawyer to defend her. Her next court hearings will be a status conference January 30th and then a preliminary hearing February 3rd. Both of them at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On that new allegation, she has a $50,000 secured appearance bond.
Bizarre
the other
behavior,
2 matters she's here on are both probation violation warrants. The allegation in both of those is that she's violated terms 3 and 5 of her probation. I've appointed a lawyer for her in both probation matters. Her next hearing will be a revocation arraignment January 31st at 8:30. And she has a total secured appearance bond of $500 on the 2 probation warrants for a total bond on all 3 matters of $50,500. Number 4 on the calendar, Crystal Seamantel, date of birth 1/31/83, is not in the courtroom because she was unable to function in general population due to combative behavior. She is here on a probation violation warrant. A petition to revoke her probation alleges violations of terms 3, 5, and 15. I've appointed a lawyer for her. Her next hearing will be a revocation arraignment January 31st at 8:30, and she has a $750 secured appearance bond. Should I read number 5 now or wait till 11? Any updates on their system? No? Okay, I won't do it then. All right, if anything changes when I visit those individual cell site, I will come back in and update this recording. Otherwise, this court will stand in recess until 11 a.m.
All right, hold up. I'm gonna switch over right now to Pima County. Just give me a moment. Let me get my ducks in a row.